shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Behave yourselves!
Lost Highway, probably considered the darkest, most incomprehensible element in your work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see it as dark and incomprehensible?
I see it as there's this thing. I now, looking back, I see it as starting with the O.J. Simpson trial that I was kind of obsessed with. And it struck me how someone could do murders and then go on living with themselves.
Hello, YouTubers out there. This is Jerry Saravia at the movies. So I'm not reviewing a movie today, although I will be soon. And I'm just here to share some rather sad, shocking news. David Lynch, the director of films like Mulholland Drive, Eraserhead, which was really my first introduction to David Lynch from way back in the day. Twin Peaks, Fire Walk With Me, Twin Peaks TV series, Wild at Heart, Inland Empire, Twin Peaks the series The Return, Blue Velvet, of course, can't really leave that one out. I mean, I'm trying to mention these. Dune, which, you know, I'm actually thinking of revisiting. I had thought about it in the last few years. Well, anyway, he passed away today, and David Lynch was diagnosed with emphysema in 2020, but he didn't announce it until August of 2024. Too much smoking, which he started smoking when he was 8. So, this director means a lot to me. I've seen also his short films, like The Grandmother, and his work is just without boundaries. I think is the best way to put it. David Lynch operated without boundaries. This man could not make a normal movie. He just couldn't do it. The only one, there are two films that are relatively normal. And if you know David Lynch's wild movies, wild at heart movies, they would be The Elephant Man from 1980, which was about John Merrick, and with John Hurt playing John Merrick, and The Straight Story, which isn't talked about very much, but I saw that in theaters. I remember I thought that was a wonderful movie with Richard Farnsworth. I thought that its most natural precedent was The Elephant Man. Those two films seem to be connected in some strange way. So, yeah, the man is gone, and it's very unfortunate. There is also Lost Highway, which I thought was a tremendous film with Bill Pullman and Robert Blake. These were nightmare odysseys, his films. Dreamlike odysseys. I mean, truly, he seemed to really investigate the pulse behind dreams. What was the pulse? And the pulse would pull you from one extreme to the other. I mean, that's really what his work was all about for me. Even Wild at Heart, which is a road movie, an ultra-violent road movie, I might add, but a hell of a road movie. I mean, David Lynch just couldn't do a normal movie. Aside from, again, Straight Story or The Elephant Man. Wild at Heart is insane. It's very high-pitched. It is an amazing movie. I mean, in every respect. Just the opening titles, where you see wild, act, heart, and all this fire, and a bit of some classical music before getting to its main theme. I mean, it was just amazing. So I'll tell you a quick story about my experiences with David Lynch. So when I first saw Eraserhead, I had read Midnight Movies way back. So we're talking now in the early 80s. And my mother wanted to make a conscious decision to see all the films mentioned in the Midnight Movies. So one of them was Eraserhead. Well, my father didn't like that film at all. I mean, a lot of people, at least at that time, did not like that movie. That movie is just crazy. And we'll leave it at that. If you've seen Eraserhead, it's insane. Especially the deformed baby without, it's basically just a torso. Really, the film it is not unlike, although certainly different, from Freaks, which I recently reviewed on my blog, and which I've seen a few times in the past. I mean, Freaks could have been made by David Lynch. He would have made those something much more otherworldly than what that film is. But he would have identified with those characters. And he would have done a great job with it had he done a film like that. My other experience was my friend and I saw Dune in theaters in 1984, and we couldn't really, like, there were things in it that I admired. I'm not going to say I completely hated it, although my 13-year-old self, I think, just thought, oh yeah, this is crap. And I like to see it again, like I said. But even over the years, I've thought about Dune. You know, even it's not one of my favorites by David Lynch by a long shot. But my friend started throwing popcorn literally at the screen, and some of the popcorn stuck to the screen. Yeah, the Dune experience. And then Blue Velvet we rented on video as a family. And my parents shut it off after the first 25-30 minutes. When you've got one of the characters, great actor who also passed away not terribly long ago, and of course I can't, Dean Stockwell. And they're having a drink, and him and Dennis Hopper, while they got Kyle MacLachlan as a hostage, sort of, and Dean Stockwell's character says, let's drink. He says, let's drink to fuck, says Dennis Hopper. He says, very well, let's drink to fuck. And after that, my parents said no more. My father was real pissed off, turned it off. My father was never a fan of David Lynch, although in latter years, he liked Lost Highway, and he liked Mulholland Drive, which he saw twice, but he still didn't know what the hell those films were about. And of course, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're you know, I have some ideas on what David Lynch is trying to do, and it would be too long for me to address it here. But yeah, David Lynch is one of the preeminent directors of all time. He really made his career cultivating not so much in things that didn't make sense, but he took stories and tried to fit them into ways in which he understood the way they were presented. And it's not that he didn't see some meaning in it. It was just these were ideas he had in his head, and he put them on film. Inland Empire is certainly a film that I still don't really understand what the hell it's about. I think it's a pretty good film, but I'm not really sure what's happening in that film. I mean, it is far more of a labyrinth than Mulholland Drive, and both are about actors. But who can forget David Lynch? I mean, you can't. Even he's always going to stand the test of time. His films don't seem to belong to really any specific era. They operate on their own principles, and they can be nightmarish, they can be dreamlike, but it is the way that David Lynch saw the world. And it could be both brutal and funny, insane, humorous, just crazy. You know, Wild at Heart. It would just be like the line delivered by Lula, played by Laura Dern, in Wild at Heart. The whole world's wild at heart and weird on top. And I think that pretty much sums up David Lynch. The weird part is that he was extravagantly weird. So those are my thoughts, and rest in peace, David Lynch. I'm I'm sorry we won't see more work from him, but his work is astounding. His filmography will always be remembered. I think he was nominated once for an Academy Award for Best Director for Mulholland Drive. It was one of the rare times that the Academy decided to nominate him. Also for The Elephant Man. So he was nominated twice. So I think the Academy did see value in his work, at least some of it. So, what did you think of David Lynch? Which are your favorite films? For me personally, it's between Eraserhead and Mulholland Drive. Those are the very best films by David Lynch, I think. And just let me know your thoughts. Tell me what you think. And if you are a new subscriber, thank you. And if you are already a subscriber, please hit the notification bell for future uploads. And this is Jerry Saravia at the Movies.